has been dominating some of the headlines, and it should be when we talk about the story of J&J and the talcum powder and the blunt case especially. And boy, we have a treat for you. And this book will really make the hair on your arm stand up. I'm serious. Ronald E. Gordon, PhD and author, is with us. Jane's Dust, A Tale of Talc, Deceit, and Death. He has a co-author too, Joel Brokaw. If you look that up on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. And here he is on Author's Corner with me, Kate Delaney, on America Tonight. Ron, so first of all, tell us about your story, because you told me, and you're so right on this, there's like 36,000 current cases, talc cases out there. It's so big. And I mentioned the one case, Anderson Cooper, you alerted me to this, just did something on CNN about the J&J talcum powder case, and you were somebody who was testifying. So tell us about that.
Well, for over 40 years, I've been doing asbestos analysis on human tissue, as well as in products, different kinds of products. And in 2008, what was interesting was one of the law firms in New York came to me. In fact, it was a different lawyer that was presented, but from the same firm in New York, Levy Konigsberg, that brought me talc samples to test, and they were cashmere bouquet type samples from Colgate. And I started to look at those and found that they all contained asbestos in them. And with that, I started to do a lot of human tissue cases that were coming through with people with ovarian cancer, as well as developing mesotheliomas, of those people that have used the cosmetic talc for years, or other cosmetics containing talc.
Wow.
So, and as a result, from my testing, I was and still am testifying in court on these cases.
Yeah. Here's the thing. So everybody wants to know, and you've seen this, you've been there firsthand. How did this explode? How did we not know about this? What is going on with J&J? And you've seen it. You've seen the damage of the asbestos, and how did they allow that to continue in the powder? Well,
they determined, and they knew that there was asbestos in the talc, and they basically hid the fact that the asbestos was in the talc, in spite of the fact that they make the claim that it's 100% safe. It isn't, because we've been able to correlate these people having absolutely no other exposure to asbestos in any other way, and the only thing that they come up with is the same kinds of asbestos that are found in the cosmetic talc.
Wow. And this is, like I said at the beginning, 36,000 current cases. So this is just the beginning of all of this. Now, you write this book, Jane's Dust, A Tale of Talc, Deceit, and Death. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And writing this book, you take this character and you take us through what that was like. Tell us about Jane.
Well, Jane was basically a school teacher and had no other form of exposure to asbestos. But when looked into her past, basically by her attorneys, who they consulted later on in this issue, because the doctors had no idea what was going on, that Jane had been using, it was used on her as a baby, the talcum powder, and she continued to use it to play with her dolls, as well as using it continuously for years after that. And she would use it in a closed bathroom where she was breathing this material, as well as putting it all over her body. And as a result, she developed ovarian cancer initially, was cured, and with going through a horrendous chemotherapy regimen, and then after a few years later, she developed the mesothelioma, which ultimately caused her demise.
And this is so much of what you're seeing. I mean, and so this character had to easily spring to life, I would imagine, because of the things that you're seeing, right?
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, this particular character was based on the actual patient that was presented in that CNN documentary, the Blount case, which is a very interesting case that I testified on.
Oh yeah, and that case from the beginning to where we are, boy, that took some time for that development because you were going up against a big company like J&J, right?
Well, that's correct. Yes.
Yeah. It makes it so tough. So when people read Jane's Dust, what do you hope they take away from reading this when they put it down and they've read it?
Well, I'm hoping that they take away the message that the use of talcum powder and or cosmetics that contain talc are potentially harmful to their health, and that they will seek medical intervention to monitor them so that they can catch any of these potential diseases early, or these cancers early, and can be treated and survive, as opposed to Jane, who ultimately died at the end of the trial.
Yeah,
in the book.
And Jane, too young, right?
Yes, she was probably, I believe she should have been in her early 60s based on the book.
Yeah, wow, so tough. And for you, what has this journey been like pulling this together with, as I mentioned, Joel in the beginning of this? What was this how's this project gone for you, and now it's out there? Well,
I mean, I believe that the book was extremely well written. Joel was the storyteller, basically, based on all the facts that I was able to give him and what went on during both her treatment and her legal issues in court.
Yeah, and then he was able to wrap that into a story because, again, this is a novel, Jane's Dust, A Tale of Talc, Deceit, and Death. And the deceit part, of course, is what we're seeing with big business and what they do. And you talk about this and the lies they use to cover up what they know, right?
Exactly. In fact, in that CNN documentary, the lawyer, I've faced that lawyer in court situations, and they outright lied on TV without a question. And they claim that their testing people tested it and found nothing, and that the talc is 100% safe. Well, to start off with, the talc has never been 100% safe because we know that it causes lung granulomas when some people inhale enough of it. So just the talc alone is not safe. Forget about with asbestos in it. And these companies hid the fact that it had the asbestos in it. They tested it, and it was, in fact, found, and they knew it, and that's why they developed the cornstarch product that they put on the market. Was originally to supplant the use of the talc, but it never did.
Wow, so scary. We could talk about this all day. Again, get the book, Jane's Dust, A Tale of Talc, Deceit, and Death. Ron, thanks so much.
Thank you.